Welcome to this second week of Lent, in which our theme is prophecy. And our text comes from one of the great prophetic books of the Bible, the book of Isaiah, chapter 53, in which we're introduced to the figure who's often called the suffering servant, a figure whom Christians have read over many centuries as a prefiguration of Christ. The suffering servant is a fascinating figure. He's both repellent, his sufferings are so extreme, and it's said of him that he had no beauty that we should desire him. And yet the text seems to associate his sufferings with a sort of offering on behalf of others. He suffers partly for others' transgressions, and in doing so makes intercession for them, making prayers for their sake. And that at another level, beneath this superficial horror, is something that is commended in the text as a proper source of admiration. Modern artists have always had a complex relationship with the idea of beauty. It can too often seem like a false consolation to make works of art that simply give pleasure. And that's perhaps why the figure of the crucified Christ, and perhaps too the figure of the suffering servant in Isaiah, speak very powerfully to modern artists, whether or not they're Christian, because their art too has been an invitation to look more deeply than just our desire for sensory reward, and actually to ask bigger questions and more profound questions about what matters and what will endure. And all three of the works that we'll share with you this week, as we also think about Isaiah 53, do what, in its own particular way, Anish Kapoor's work, one of the three, does, which is to create a slit in the surface of things, like the wound of Christ, and to invite us, like Thomas, to feel our way beyond the surface towards something more deep, more lasting, and perhaps too more challenging, as we think about how it is that real beauty manifests itself in the complex, difficult, and violent world of human affairs.